Hi, Elizabeth. Okay, I've got your work up right here. Thank you very much for including the front of the poster. That's smart. That's really smart, Elizabeth. And the reason I say that is because, I've been really, preaching the importance of harmony from the front to the back of the poster. And that's really important. It's a huge concept in design. So therefore, it's theoretically to submit the back of the poster alone doesn't make much sense. And I think it's very intuitive that you submitted the front. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so I love the front. I think these sound waves are just fantastic. I love a great concept. Nice job. I love the tagline, "Be groovy or leave, man." That's so 60s, isn't it? Couple of recommendations here. I would recommend we do this. I'll say, since this is a Bob Dylan quote, I would say we would take this quote and bring it right down here. Increase the size, or I would say find a script face that is a little beefier, because this is so bold. This can barely stand up to this. It's so bold. So find a script face that's a little bit beefier, and then increase the size a little bit, and then place it. Watch my cursor. Something like maybe like this. And I say put it below his quote because it's Bob Dylan. Then you're introducing the quote. You see what I'm saying? So I think that would make more sense. So, anyways, the front is great. I think this piece is begging for color. I really do. Remember the famous, iconic, very famous Bob Dylan poster from Milton Glaser? And one of the concepts there, here's that poster. You've seen it 100 times, right? One of the concepts here is that Bob Dylan was so full of ideas that the color represents the ideas that just kind of flow from his head. Okay, so right now I think that that color could be used to express, make a little bit more expression in the piece. So I recommend color in the piece. All right, back piece. Let's go ahead and take a look at your typography 61. Okay, now I'm looking for old style numerals or to reduce the size of numerals to fit more in line. This is all covered in, of course, materials, specifically in the announcements, and setting old style numerals or reducing the size of your numerals. Very, very important. I'll also be looking for applicable use of M dash, N dash, hyphen, small caps as opposed to all caps. So if you do add type that requires this, then that will be something that I'll be looking for that. The rags definitely need to be adjusted. Again, that's covered in a video tutorial in the course announcements. I would use a drop cap here. I would definitely. I think that would be just a great way to dress up these paragraphs a little bit. Okay, let's take a look at the timeline itself. Now, the timeline, I got a little problem with the timeline, and I'm so glad you didn't center align your type. A lot of students default to center aligning type on a timeline. This looks gorgeous. Really nice job. That's a widow, by the way. So is that. So is that. A widow is a word sitting on a line all by itself. You want to avoid that at all costs. That's one of the first things that hiring professionals and portfolio reviewers will look at. Additionally, your rags on your timeline entries definitely need to be adjusted as well. Again, review that video tutorial on how to adjust rags. The timeline, as I said, I'm having a little bit of an issue. You know what? Let's get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. You already saw that, right? So the timeline itself, as I said, is problematic. And the reason it's problematic is because you're starting to design it, but it's not, this element right here we don't see it anywhere else. It wasn't introduced earlier as a concept. It's just kind of out of the blue. So there's no connection between the front of the poster and the timeline on the back of the poster. This suggests a lack of harmony. All right. My recommendation is this. See this timeline, right? Or these wavy, the time waves, the wave pattern, the sound waves. That's what I'm trying to come again. The sound waves, right? So these sound waves right here, I would take a long sound wave and set it right there, and then use that for your timeline. That creates a nice connection, a wonderful harmony between the front and the back of the poster, because you're using elements from the front of the poster to continue onto the back of the poster, right? Makes sense? That'll really bring this to a higher level of visual engagement by increasing the harmony between the front and the back of the poster. Okay, other than that, oh, by the way, that's M dash right there. I'm sorry, that's N dash. N as in Nancy. When you're separating numbers, always use an N dash. Take a look at, do some research, get online and see when is applicable to use, when and where it is applicable to use italic, because in some of these areas, it would be appropriate to use italics. There's a good example of small caps instead of all caps. Okay, all right, so there you have it. Great start, excellent. If you have any questions at all, please let me know and I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But it's a great start, Elizabeth. Really nice work. Okay, again, get with me if you have any questions at all. Thank you very much.